I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk to folks from the VTuber community about their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. Hemobunny joins us. Hi!
Hi, hello.
Appreciate you coming on.
It's good to be here.
I'm
I'm very honored.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You was a little sleepy. We're gonna try not to keep her up too late tonight. But introduce yourself to everybody, please.
I am Hemobunny. I am a VTuber manager and freelance artist that works off of VGen. I am also just a regular person behind a screen that likes to just write, draw, chill, do whatever I need to do. To be fair, I'm a pretty lax person in real life.
It's pretty tough to find something that you don't do.
Oh yeah,
At this
I'm a
point.
very ambitious person. I got that from my mom specifically. She was a very big overachieving woman. So I got that specifically from her, all the A's and all that stuff. So I was a gifted kid, and I was also a person that did a lot of extracurricular activities to look good on my college resume.
There's ambitious, and then there's people who shouldn't be ambitious. And it sounds like you're one of the people who should be ambitious. You got the talent to do this stuff.
No, yeah. I'm very humble when it comes to it. I don't think I'm the smartest person in the room, but it's not abnormal for my acquaintances and friends and relatives to think I am, which is weird because I don't think I am, but they're like, no, she got this. She'll probably know the answer. And I do, but that doesn't mean I'm the smartest.
You're one of those people that learned chess in 5 minutes. Is that one of those people I'm talking to now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'll leave the room now. You can do the rest of the show. No,
I'm a very big overachieving person. I'm very ambitious, very organized, and very meticulous.
Well,
if that makes sense.
that makes a lot of sense, actually. It also makes a lot of sense that I'm not any of those things. So that we balance out here. It's a perfect match.
Exactly.
Get
You get it.
right in the middle. But when did you get started? When did you decide to do the VTubing thing?
VTubing, I had my eye on it in 2021, and I had decided to finally pursue it by 2023 in April. And the reason why was because I was very, again, very meticulous, very perfectionist, wants everything to be just right. I wanted to create a character that I could still relate to and play the part of during streams, but didn't feel so disconnected that people misunderstood who I was. So I needed to have that perfect mixture before I finally had the debut and the creation of Hemo and her lore.
So there's a lot of you in it, but just enough to not quite be you.
Yeah, so when anybody, says they don't like me, or if anybody were to make some sort of attack on me personally, they don't know me because I never put my full self out there on purpose too. It's a thing that I did to make sure that I keep my mental health in check. I know who I am as a person, and also I'm gonna be real. Hima's very passionate. She's very fiery. She's very much a person that breaks the rules all the time, and she does all the things that I used to do when I was a teenager. But as an adult, I like order. Definitely outgrew it.
If I read between the lines, it's what you did as a teenager, and as an adult, you really wish you could get away with still doing it.
No, yeah, basically, it's it's very much about embracing yourself as you are versus trying to convert to what is expected of you at a certain age. So I'm 22. I have a lot of responsibilities. I have rent to pay, all that good stuff. But at the same time, too, at my core, I also know that I'm a very loving, very passionate, and very affectionate person that likes to see the best in people.
How dare you have a rational idea of how to do this? Where did you go? Where do you get off having rational thoughts coming into this type of thing?
My creative writing addiction.
No, did that play into it? I mean, did having that type of
Absolutely.
imagination play into this?
Oh, absolutely. At first she was just supposed to be a yandere gyaru. I thought it was the cutest little thing because I've always loved gyaru fashion. I always thought that it looked very beautiful. And then I was like, huh, I kind of want her to be a little bit supernatural though. I didn't want to just stick with, oh, I'm just a regular human that just loves you a lot. I wanted it to be very much of like there's plot, she has purpose, she is her own circle, dimension of herself. She's not just me with a mask on. I
So,
wanted to make it so where Hemo is Hemo, I am myself.
so you already had the yandere part, so you wanted to add a little extra layer of doom.
Yeah.
It wasn't dangerous enough. Had to add a little extra danger to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
And the thing is too is I really did grow to love and be attached to who Hemo is, her morals and her principles, her lore especially. Something that I really liked about it was it made it to where I can take what I grew up with when I was a child, which is Catholicism and Christianity, and I can make it my own. And I can give explanations for a lot of the questions that I had when I was a child into Hemo's lore.
that's excellent. I mean, I hear a lot of folks with different reasons why they choose certain models, and sometimes it's basically just put it there just as a little barrier between themselves and what's up. But you're using this as a way to um, channel what you've already experienced and be able to share it with others.
Absolutely. Again, even though Hemo isn't really me, I can still have an extension of myself where I feel comfortable enough to portray her and not feel like I'm lying to an audience, if that makes sense. I want them to make sure they still get to know me, but they don't get to know all of me. They get to see a bit like a piece of me.
Well, I don't think there's any way that anybody just watching you doing this could do that. You really are a, a jack of all trades. There's a lot of things you're doing, but in front and behind the microphone. Now you're doing some management too. What's that about?
Okay, so as of lately, I had started to dabble in management due to the fact that I seem to have a natural knack for social media, navigating the algorithm, getting myself exposure, gaining followers, really building a community.
Well,
And I knew that it was a bit tricky for me to learn, but I caught on quickly. But a lot of people don't have the same gift that I do in terms of catching on quickly and noticing patterns. So I wanted to help other people. And before I ever made it into a monthly payment to be able to, get paid to do management, I wanted to ensure that I knew what I was doing first. So I used my VTuber friends as test subjects. And one of my VTuber friends, who is now my actual fiance in real life, Kuro, was one of the first test subjects that I had. And he is one of my proudest achievements to date. I got him into affiliate in less than a couple of months of knowing him, and he had been trying to get affiliate for about what, like I think a year or two.
mhm.
So it was a very very happy achievement for both of us.
Well, we're going to have all sorts of links here for to get in touch with all the different things that Hemo's involved in here on the interview. So don't worry about that. You go through that and you'll find something that she's doing. And that's not all. I mean, there's so many things. I saw the term V singer, but
Oh
I
yeah.
don't see any covers yet. When's that happening?
I wanted to make it to where, as of lately, I wanted to put my content creation on pause until I decide to grasp adulthood fully. I had realized I had put a little bit too much of the content creation as a priority,
Hmm.
and I have bills to pay, so
Yeah.
so I was like, okay, you know what? Let me put it to the side for now. But the plan is I eventually will be doing covers, and I want to do my own songs at one point, specifically an album dedicated to Hemo's story, almost like a musical, but it just kind of shows from beginning to end, like where she starts, where she ends.
Wow. It really sounds like you've got things in a row. I mean, you've got everything pretty much set up and exactly what you want to do. It's just finding the time and finding the
Yep.
right place for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I always joke around and say even if I didn't sleep for a whole 24 hours, there's not enough time in a day for a lot of the things that I want to do.
We're gonna have to add a couple extra hours and a couple extra days in the week. Eh, did
No,
you
yeah.
did you always want to be an entertainer type of person?
It's funny. I no hated it.
I can
uh,
tell.
I I'm an extrovert by nature, but it's very odd how I function because most extroverts usually thrive off attention, thrive
Right.
off of the energy of others. I do as well, but I also notice that I get exhausted very easily if I am not immediately 100% comfortable with people, right?
Right.
So new acquaintances, I'll be happy to talk to them, but I will get tired eventually, that type of thing.
Hmm.
And I didn't like the thought of being in the limelight. And I had told this to my friend, my childhood friend, one time too, that I would never marry or date someone famous because I didn't want to deal with the consequences of paparazzi being up my business. Like I did not like that. I'm a very much like I like to be left alone in the quiet with my significant other and my pet bunny Roxy. That's all I need. I don't need anything else.
Yeah,
I really
but then
don't.
but then here you are. So what changed?
Creativity,
Hmm.
an outlet
Well,
to be able to really create a story. At the end of the day, I didn't do VTubing to become a famous VTuber. I did it to really tell a story
mm,
of Hemo and her adventures. A lot of her character growth is starting to get shown little by little. In terms of in the beginning, she had thought that humanity needed to be given more immortality because she thought they were worthy, and she thought that all they needed was a little guide in the right direction. And as Hemo gets older and as she progresses more into her story, it's showing that not everything is black and white, and a lot of humanity is very gray colored in terms of morality and where right from wrong really ends.
yeah, some folks actually do think in three dimensions instead of just one way or the other, and that's a good thing, really, in the long term. And you're being with this, you're able to be able to show that that particular storyline and expand on the storyline at the same time. Are you still writing as you go along with Hemo?
Oh, absolutely. She technically already has an ending that
Mm.
I had given her. I had actually thought about making her into a book series at one point because there was so much lore and there was so much character development and stories and places she has to go, interactions with people, that eventually I had realized it was way more than just a little background snippet to get to know her. It was a whole story that I had managed to write, and I just put a face to it finally.
That's really great that you've been able to find what seems to be a real good niche to expand upon that and to expound upon it as well. Uh, this this seems to have fallen right into your lap.
Oh yeah. I didn't expect Hemo to grow as much as she did in terms of both popularity and also story-wise. I expected to just go, hey, she's a Grim Reaper yandere. She's the daughter of the Grim Reaper. End of story. But I ended up making it where it was a whole biblical lore going on. And if you don't know her father, I named him Amos. He's supposed to be the angel of creation. And I had also made it to where pantheons were merged. So it wasn't just Christian or Catholic God, it was also the Greek pantheon, the Norse pantheon. They all coexist within each other. And you start to like really have the holes be filled in. Where did the angels learn how to create humans? And you find out they learned it from the god Prometheus, that was the original human creator in the Greek pantheon. So it's a lot of in depth lore and a lot of work.
You're going to need to write those books,
Yeah.
or at least a book to tape or something like that for for those of us.
Absolutely.
But really, it sounds like that you've really got a you've been working on this a long time. So truthfully, how long have you had this in your mind?
To be fair, uh, it's as soon as I had designed her and really put a mood board, I was trying to figure out what I had wanted her story to be.
Mm.
Because I didn't want her to just be a cute girl VTuber. There was tons of those. I didn't want that. I wanted to tell a story. I knew that for sure. I just didn't know what her story was at first. And for people that don't know me in real life, a little snippet of me personally, I have a big obsession and respect for the afterlife and the dead,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
I specifically had a big fondness for Hades when I was a kid. And so I was like, huh, I want her to be a yandere that's so obsessed with humans to the point it's almost supernaturally intriguing. Like she thinks that they're pets almost. And I thought to myself, how can you make it to where she sees people as pets usually she's not supposed to be human.
Right.
Most people that aren't humans think of humans as pets, so I was
Yeah.
thinking of something like that,
Or
and then it
cannon
just kind of
fodder, one
escalated
of
from
the
there.
two, or food, one,
Like,
one, one of those things. Well, I think it's great that you're able to do this. I'm going to say I wish you do put it in as a book because I want to know what's going on. I want to read
absolutely.
how you come up with this. But you got a lot of time for that yet. So I'm just going to keep reminding you every 5 minutes until you do it. Yeah, because that's all I've got left to do. I'm done. The channel itself. I know that you've been doing some collaborations and stuff on the channel. What do you like to do when you're VTubing, and who do you like to do it with?
To be fair, I'm very much a person that likes to do things either on my own
Mhm.
or I will be doing things with close friends. And by close friends, I don't mean like close VTuber friends. I mean people that actually first and last name know them, know
Right.
where they live, all that stuff. They know me, I know them personally.
Fair.
One of the few people that I was comfortable with when I first started doing VTubing was Kuro, my fiance, because at the time he had like I had gotten a raid and he was a part of the raid and that's how we met was through a stream raid. And we just think it's so funny because we always joke and say Twitch isn't a dating platform and then we look at each other.
Yeah. Well, I take my hats
But
on him for
yeah.
I take my hat off to him for having good game. How about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was funny too because he said I didn't even plan this. It just happened. I was lucky if I got to hold your hand.
Yeah, that's good fellow. Keep that one up.
Oh, absolutely.
Keep going in that direction. Well, when you are playing on what types of games are you into?
I usually like either FPS games or I like horror games specifically. I started to get into Valorant as of recently,
Mm-hmm.
to the point that I had thought to myself that I would think it'd be really cool to be competitive for a little bit.
Yeah.
I wanted to really work on my aim, and usually when I set my mind to do something, I do it extraordinarily well, a little too good. um, for background, I used to play Overwatch religiously every day,
Wow.
like almost all the hours of the day. Like it was bad. So I have a very big um, way of doing things in terms of when I get it done, I get it done. I don't doubt myself. I don't have room for doubt. I just do it. And if I get it wrong a couple of times, I just do it 10 times harder to make sure I get it right the next time.
Well, I mean, so far it sounds like it's gotten you where you want to go.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't argue with it at this point. Uh, things
Yeah.
it seems to be going your way, especially as far as online is concerned. Are there any things
Yeah, yeah,
you
absolutely.
is there any things you want to do now that I mean, you covered a lot of bases here as far as VTubing and things surrounding it. What's what's your goal? Do you have one for the rest of the year?
The rest of the year, I kind of want to just focus on the internal part of my life, not the external part.
Hmm.
A lot of people they get into social media content creation due to obviously wanting to create and expose themselves to the world and really truly give a piece of themselves to a lot of people. Um, I used to joke around and I used to say you have to have some level of narcissism to be an influencer
Yeah.
because it has to have some sort of um, way of thinking people will be interested in you, right? Which isn't a bad thing. Everybody is interesting to somebody, and the reason why is because you grew up with yourself your whole life. You're not going to think you're special, but other people will, and that's what you have to count on.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I'm not one of those people that really cares that much. I'm kind of one of those artists that they do one really good painting that they sell for $1 billion, and you never hear from them again.
So where's
Like
that painting?
I don't want this.
Yeah. Where's that painting? We're looking for it right now.
Like I really do love streaming and I adore the community that I had built and I adore the friends that I made along the way. And without this community I would never have found the person I'm gonna end up marrying. But there are some people that know when content creation is gonna last forever for them and I am just unfortunately not one of those people. I have different ambitions, different goals. This was just a very nice creative outlet to really create something that I fell in love with and eventually got really attached to.
Well, and you're doing well. I mean, you've what you it sounds like you've done pretty much what you wanted to do.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you reach the end of a goal.
I've never done that in my life, so I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't know what. Don't even know there were ends of goals. I thought you just kept going.
So yeah, because the only goal that I had really was, okay, try streaming, see if you enjoy it. I enjoyed it, and then I didn't, and I'm like, okay, next thing.
Yeah. Well, we do know that the music might be coming soon, so I bet you we don't see you
Yes,
take off until that happens. Um,
fair enough. Yeah.
and and too, something that might come up, and technology moves quickly. Uh, is you might there might be a technology coming up soon that might make things even more interesting for you because it sounds like I'm not trying to put any words in your mouth, but if something is interesting to you, then that's when you're more willing to put a big effort into it.
Oh, absolutely. After a while, the VTubing community content creation, it gets very repetitive.
Hmm.
I don't like repetitive that much in terms of I can deal with consistency. I just cannot deal with a creative stump. If
Hmm.
I already created her, entire story top to bottom, designed her, gave her other outfits for Christ's sake, like I did a bunch of stuff just to keep giving into this character.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if the story's done, the story's done. There's not much you can do about it.
So when it does eventually happen, are you really going to be able to say goodbye to Hemo?
Ah.
Unfair question.
Ah, yeah, it's a fair question. It stings. Ow. I I feel like I'll never truly say goodbye to her. She's a part of me. I had done this as a way to also cope with a diagnosis that I have
Right.
for full transparency. I have borderline personality disorder.
Hmm.
So I do have a lot of the traits that Hemo has naturally. Obsessiveness in terms of people, especially people that I deem as like very favorable. I also have a very big emotional grasp on myself. I feel things 10 times harder than most people would. Emotional regulation is extremely hard for me sometimes.
Right.
And this was in my own little funky way, I guess, a way to love myself as a way of self-love and self-care. To be able to accept that part of myself and to truly go, although it may be inconvenient at times, it doesn't make me a bad person because of where the intent comes from.
Good gravy. It sounds like you've got things. It sounds like to me you've got everything in a good box and place where it needs to be. Uh,
Yeah,
I
I love her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not just that, but you got kind of a grasp on what you've got going for yourself too, off the off the internet and
Absolutely.
away from the stage, and you kind of know what's going on, and you have accepted it yourself.
Yeah, I never wanted to do content creation full time. The reason being is I don't like the sacrifices you have to make sometimes, right? Especially if you take off and you're really truly in the spotlight, where it gets to being thousands upon thousands of people watching you. I value my own privacy and I have boundaries. And people like me usually don't last in that space often because you have to feed into some sort of parasocialness to be able to gain an audience, right? You see
Right.
it with everybody. Them always saying they love their audience, them saying that they really care about them, that they wish they could hug and greet every one of them. For me, although I appreciate my community and I appreciate my audience, at the end of the day, um, I know that I'm not Hemo,
Mm.
but my audience won't know unless I tell them straight to their face. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
And there had even been an incident where I had like my friend had gifted me an art piece, right? And it was a not safe for work art. It was something that he had done out of pocket because I am technically a lewd tuber.
Amen.
And someone had shown my fiance and he was like, "Are you okay with Hemo doing that?" And I had to lay down a boundary and say, "Hey, just so everybody knows, I'm not Hemo. That's that's not me. I don't look like her." I promise you, I don't wear pink and black and ruffles and lace. If anything, I just wear all black.
Yeah. Once I hit a certain age, like 15, all I want to do is wear gray all the time, and it drives the wife absolutely insane. But
It's so nice. It's
gray
such a nice color.
gray matches with everything, especially my hair now.
Exactly.
What's left of it. Uh, say you said something that I absolutely and totally disagree with, and you said
Hmm.
people like you. I don't think there is anybody like you at this point. I think that you're an extremely amazing individual, and I think that that's going to continue to reflect in whatever you do from here on out. And I'm just glad you took the time to come and talk to me for a little bit.
Thank you. And I love talking to people and I love giving them a different perspective on things. I'm a very philosophical, very thoughtful person. I like to have conversations that can make people really view all angles of things. And although I don't act like Hemo, I still love and care just like her. I still have empathy and a level of care for people regardless of their backgrounds or where they come from.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.